Hello, welcome back to Pattern Making with Let Morris. We are now going to start to create the pattern for this dress. I hope you've got your equipment ready. So, and you just come along and follow, and we'll take you through this. So there we are. Once again, that's the style. And I've got here on my paper my blocks, and I've always say we start with our blocks. So we mark around our blocks like I've done. I've pre-marked them around. So we, save some time. So I can move the blocks away. So those are your blocks. You mark them around. And I've got them marked out on a new sheet of paper. And so this is what I'm going to be calling my draft. So everything, every detail that we need, we're going to create them on our blocks. So once we've marked them out, we've got them ready, and we've got our drawing or our sketch in front of us, so we can look at it and see what we're doing. So I'm going to start off with the front. So this section here is the front. I've labeled it CF for center front and CB for center back here along that line, and that's the back, and this is the front. So this is the front and this is the back. Okay, so we're going to start off with the front, and I've already pre-marked some of the lines on here that we need. So I've already marked on the neckline, so I've taken it back, and this depends on you. You can take it back an inch, inch and a half, 2 inches, depends on how wide you want it. So I've come back and I've marked it, and I've taken the line. You do this with your curve, or if you've got a curve, if you've got a steady hand, you just mark it round. So that's what I've done. I've marked on the neckline, so this is the neckline that I'm going to use here. And I've already marked on the style line that I want on the front here, this line. Right, so I have marked it on. I'm taking it from halfway between the neck and the shoulder, the front, center front and the shoulder, and I'm taking it so that it runs back to meet the dart. So that's what I've done in those broken lines. And I've gone down just past the hips. It depends, you can take it further down if you want, but I just want it just past my hips, and I've marked it, and I've taken it round, around, back into the dart, the end of the dart there, because that's the shape that I want. I then also tapered the side of the hem of my dress. I've decided on the length, and I've marked it off here, and I've taken off an inch. You can take an inch and a half, inch and a quarter, and I've remarked it back so it runs right into the hip. So where I've shaded it in there, that's where I'm going to take it off. So the next thing I need to do is get another sheet of paper, and I'm going to transfer this section of the garment that I have created, I've marked on. So if I just shade it in, that I'm going to cut off, mark off. So I'm going to take off this section here, all of this. I'm going to take that all off, transfer it. Never cut up your draft or mark it. Or always transfer the lines that you want, the pieces that you want, and another sheet of paper. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lay this on another sheet of paper. So I've got a piece underneath here, I've got a sheet here. So I'm going to place it on top, but I'm going to fold it because I want a fold edge there, because at the moment it's just single. So I'm going to fold my sheet like that, so you get a fold crease, the edge, it's folded along there. And I'm going to place my center front on that new sheet of paper, and then I'm going to trace off. You can do this by putting it on top as well as you can place it this way. But I'm placing it on top so that you can see, and then I'm going to use my tracing wheel. That's a tracing wheel. It's a good It's very good for tracing. So I always use my tracing wheel here. So I'm going to trace off that section that I've shaded in onto my new. Make sure that's on the fold. You put a weight on it, or you secure it down so that it doesn't move, and then you're going to just trace off, and we're going to go follow these lines that we've put on here. We're going to come down this side of the dart, because what we're doing, we're transferring the dart into this seam, and then we're going to go all the way down into where we've tapered that new line, and we're going to come across the hemline. So you can always make this a long evening dress as well, but I'm just going to do just below the knee. So if whatever you decide, you just extend it, and from your waist you measure down to get the length that you want. Normally it's about, for an average person, 39-40 inches from the waist to the floor. So once you've got that, what we're going to do is we're going to remove this that we have, and on the new sheet that we've transferred, we just mark the lines on that we have traced so you can see them. So I'm just going to transfer them on to this new sheet of paper. Just follow the trace line round, and then you can get some nice curved lines on after you've marked them on, so you get a nice shape. And I'm going to put my waist notch in, and I'm going to follow the shape up and around till I come back up to my neck area. So you follow that round, and then you mark the neckline, and then we're going to go down the side along just past the hip now, and we're going to take it all the way down to the bottom, to the hem, and we're going to come across the bottom that we've marked like that. So now this is the shape that we have. So wherever you got a bit of a curve, if you can't curve it, all you do is just curve it with your curve that you've got. Just line that up. So with your curve, where it's curved right at the bust area, you just curve it round with your curve. And if you haven't got a good curve here, you use your curve to get it. If not, you just continue like that. So once you've got that shape, we then add the seam allowance. We only need 1/4 at the neck, but we need 1 centimeter around these sections here. So all we do is just follow them round, follow it round 1/4 centimeter all the way up, follow it round, and you can see this is your bust area here. Just follow it round because it's a slight curve now, and you just come round your centimeter to touch your 1/4 inch. And then you do the same thing down the side. You do 1 centimeter from the bottom all the way up, follow it round because it's slightly curved on the hip line here, at the hip section rather, and follow that round. And then you just do a hem. You only need 1 centimeter there. You can do 2 centimeter if you want to do a felled hem. So we just mark that across there, and that is now your center front dress. So you just write on there, front dress, and we're going to cut one of those. So we cut one of those. So once you've done that, all we do is just cut out that shape. So that is our first section of the pattern that is done. So you just cut around your neck shape like that, and that's your first piece of pattern piece here. You don't have to do the front first. You can always do the back as well, but it's just up to you, your preference, what piece of the garment you want to start off with. In this case, I'll start off with my front, and you just cut along your seam allowance. You've got to remember, if you have no seam allowance on your block, you've got to always remember to cut or add your seam allowance on your pattern. So once we've got that, we need a notch where the waistline is, and we need one there, a balance mark at the bust point. So that is your front piece, and you open up the pattern piece and you can see what it looks like there. And we're just going to put the grain line on. So we then straight line down the center, and that is our grain line, and we're calling that the grain line. So that is your first piece of pattern piece done. Looks like that. Okay, so once you've done that, now we've got to go back to our draft, and we're going to now copy off. We've got some spare paper. We're also going to trace off now. We're going to trace off this section because we want to get rid of that dart, and we want to throw it into there because we don't want a dart there. So what we do is we're going to put that on our new sheet of paper. Make sure you've got enough paper underneath. If you haven't, you've got to get enough paper underneath to allow for you to mark off this section. So what I'm going to do with the tracing wheel again, I'm going to trace off this section here from that point all the way down on this side of the dart around there. We've done that already. We've done that in another design that we did, but it's exactly the same thing. And we're going to put our waist mark in, and then we're going to go around the neckline here from that point here, from this point here, round the neck, and we're going to go along the shoulder here and down the armhole. We're going to trace it all off round the armhole there, and then we're going to come down the side like that, down the hip till we come back to that section here. And then we're going to put that dart, that balance mark at the waist in here, and then we're going to put in the dart position. I'm using the spike to do that. And before we take that off, make sure you've got your grain line on, which is parallel to the center front. So you measure out from the center front out, and you put a mark. You measure out and you put your mark, and that is your grain line, and you make sure that's on the side before you do anything else. So that also you transfer onto your new pattern. So once you've done that, you can take that off, and I'm going to mark it out so that you can see what we've just traced off. So these are the lines that we trace off. That's the waist, that's the bust, and we've gone into that shape here, and we come around the neck like that, and we've gone along the shoulder. So wherever you've got straight line, remember to use your ruler. Where you've got curve line, if you're not good at curving around, you use your curve. And where you've got straight lines, so we're going to connect the darts in here. I'm going to put that dart in here like that, like that. I'm going to show you how we close that out, because we don't want that dart to be there. We want it to go into the seam. So you then mark around your hip back into your waistline, and you just put a mark there. Don't forget to put your grain line on, because that is very important to give you the guide on how to lay your pattern piece. So once you've got that, you then cut that shape out, because we want to transfer that dart into this seam. So all we do is we cut out this shape. I'll just cut that out quickly. You can follow as we're going along. So we cut out that shape, and I'm going to cut down the side here, as you can see, along where the dart is, down the side, all the way down. So we cut away that section, and then we're going to come up this side, up along here, up to the waist, up to the bust point, and right up to the neckline, to where we want that bit. And then we're going to cut out the armhole as well. And then after we've done that, we're going to place it on a new sheet of paper after we've closed out our dart. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut up on one of these lines of the darts here, either the top one, it doesn't matter. So like this, we cut along that line like that right to the end. You don't necessarily have to cut it right off. And then we're going to close it. Can you see the dart here? We've got the dart there. We've got the dart there. We don't want it. All we do is we're going to close it up. Bring that line up to that line. And you sellotape it. Or I'm going to use some prick stick to hold it. And I'm going to close it like that. Like that. It's closed. Now I'm going to place this pattern piece on a new sheet of paper like that. And I'm going to mark around that shape without the dart in. So what is really happening, we've closed that dart and it's gone into this line. So that we still get a nice fit, clean fit across your bust. You've got no wrinkles. So darts are very important. Gives you clean fits when you do your style, your shaping, whether it be in a panel or gathers or pleats. Very important over the bust area, because we don't want a lot of folding of material. We want a nice smooth fit. So it's very important to use the dart shapes that we've got. So we're going to mark around this new piece that we've got. We're going to put a balance mark there, one at the waist over that side, and we're going to come around this shape that we have back into there. You've got your armhole, and we're going to put a notch in there to tell us that that is the front section. And then we mustn't forget to put the grain line, follow the grain line through onto our pattern at all times, because the grain line is very important. It helps you to place your pattern piece on your fabric as straight as you can have it. So once you've done that, you can remove that, and that is what you've got now. So all we do is we're going to put those balance mark in like that, and then we just add the seam allowance on. So whatever lines that you don't want there, you can rub them off. So this is the line that we want here. It's not a straight line, slightly shaped over the bust area along there. So you just smooth them up, smooth up your shoulders, straight line, and then we put the seam allowance. So we want 1 centimeter over the shoulders. We want 1/4 on your neckline to match the other piece that we did. And then we want 1 centimeter down this area. Follow the shape. It's not a straight line. You follow it round, follow it round, follow them round to give you a nice shape down to the waist, centimeter, all the way round. You're going to put your centimeter round your curve like that, back up to meet that line. And then you go on the side, you do the same thing. On your side, you go up 1 centimeter all the way round into your waist, along the side, all the way up. And then you come around your armhole, centimeter, also back up to your shoulders. And then you put your grain line on. So now that is your side front panel. So that panel that we've got there is going to fit into here, back into there like that. You've got your dart, so you'll get a nice shape in your bodies, and then you have your dart into there to give you a nice shape over the bust. So that is going to be your side front, and we're going to cut. Wonder how much you think we should cut of those. We're going to be cutting 2. That's right. Cut 2 of those for the front. So once we've got that, we've cut 2 of those, we've now completed the front section of our garment. And then the next thing we need to do is to do a facing, but we'll do the facing after we've done the back. I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to break now, and then I'm going to come back, and then we're going to be doing the back.